My parents must have heard this verse in a sermon one time when I was growing up. And I know they used to say it to us all the time, and I suppose it was a way to keep their four relatively ruly sons in line. But the verse was this, Numbers 32:23, be sure your sin will find you out. It still goes through my head sometimes today, but as I look back at it, sure, it was taken slightly out of context for where it was originally used in the book of Numbers, but it taught me what I want to tell you today. So here's a line that I've heard is, my sin doesn't affect anybody but me. You've probably heard somebody say that before. Let me tell you why that's just not true. Why you can't just be a recluse and hide yourself somewhere, do whatever you want, and think that your life and your morals and your choices don't affect anyone else. Let me start with a quote from a commentary. You know, I just finished a series on the book of Judges a few weeks ago. And this was a comment that really stuck with me, but I never used it in one of the messages. But it says this, from the story of the book of Judges, which you can go back and look at all those. It says, the stranglehold of sin not only creates a context of widespread immorality, that's where we're going today, but it also produces an environment of uncertainty, division, oppression, economic and other oppression, an environment of fear, suspicion, false hospitality, cowardice, and familial and social brokenness. Sin is like a cancer that literally sucks the life out of its host. Not content to be confined or limited, sin, once taken root, spreads in such a way that it saps the energy and life that feeds cells and organs. The result is that the cancer, or sin, thrives and grows while the host environment of the cancer deteriorates and eventually dies. Catch that part. The host environment of the cancer, the sin, deteriorates and eventually dies. That's where we're going today. The final few sentences from that quote says, even in the broader culture, we hear statements like we should not impose our own moral standards on others. If it's not hurting others, then people should live and behave however they see fit, right? Again, to conclude, Judges confronts us with the stark reality that sin has far-reaching and unforeseen consequences. Keep that in mind. Even seemingly victimless offenses cannot easily be circumscribed or contained. Sin is like that. And that's from a commentator whose name is Beldman. But anyway, you may not like that statement, the idea that sin affects more than just you. You might disagree with it. But let me give you just a few examples from Scripture. You remember the story in 2 Samuel 24 where David decides to take a census and all of Israel is punished for that. And God gives him the choice of how to do that, but that's what happens. Or the other story of David's sin with Bathsheba, which would just seem to be between him and Bathsheba, right? Well, that baby that was conceived because of that adultery died. Bathsheba's husband was killed by David. And you're thinking, well, Pastor, you're taking two of those things that have no effect. I've never done anything like that. Plus, I'm not the king of a nation. I'm only responsible for me. Well, here's the reality. That's not how society and culture work. You are always contributing to society one way or the other, either for its betterment or its decline, whether you like it or not. You don't get a free pass. Every action that you take at a grocery store, work, school, neighborhood matters. And there are community consequences for individual sin. Our society pays a price for the immorality of its individuals. So yes, your personal choices and sins do have an effect on more people than just you. And you'll say, well, what about the things that I do behind closed doors that don't affect me? Well, let me put this, a couple things that do happen behind closed doors. Pornography affects women and children who are trafficked to support that industry. Think of it this way, substance abuse affects your ability to function as a family member, as a neighbor, or a source of help to someone in time of need. If you are just constantly zoned out and unable to contribute in any way, you are not helping. Your inability to be a productive member of society harms the society. What could you be contributing, I guess, should be the way I should word that. And this is a truth that even goes beyond me coming to you from a religious, faith-based perspective. In an article in The Atlantic last week, David Brooks writes this: there is a second and deeper logic to life, a gift logic, which guides us as we form important relationships. If you're a zombie, you can't do those sorts of things. It says this is a logic of contribution, not acquisition, not acquiring. And the article is talking about people who have acquired a great deal of fame or success or whatever. But it says there's also something to contribute, not just acquire. There's an idea of surrender, not domination. He says it's a moral logic, not an instrumental one. And it's full of paradox. You have to give to receive. You have to lose yourself to find yourself. You have to surrender to something outside yourself to gain strength within yourself. So not only are you harming yourself, which I think you would agree, but you're not finding out who you could truly be, living a life of purpose, but there are others that are being harmed. So let me ask you this today to kind of wrap this up. Are you stepping and leading us more towards the darkness or more towards the light? And I'll just leave you with that today. I'm going to be gone for a while. Getting ready to take a vacation for a little bit, but I have about 5 or 6 great topics related to AI and that tree of robots and so forth that I want to talk to you about. Robot priests, tutors in the future. Can AI make art and write good sermons? And then us just trying to survive with AI being around us. Anyway, I wanted to give you a joke because I know I haven't done one in a long time. But it's semi-related to artificial intelligence. So here it is. My friend said he really didn't understand human cloning. I said, that makes 2 of us. I hope you got that one. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.